as you say, Þórgunna seems to predict the holiness of Skálholt.
Yes.
This is some 60 years almost before it is made into a bishopric, and this actually is one of the features of Eyrbyggja saga as a whole. The author is very often comparing his own time to the time of the events.
And he is very interested in the past. He's very interested in the way the past is reflected in the landscape. He looks at features of the landscape and tells stories about them from the past. But what what he is the most interested in is the origin of the institutions in his society, and especially the institution of the chieftainship. This is the most detailed description in the sagas of what it was to be a goði in religious terms, the hofgoði, the pagan goði, the pagan priest, which Snorri, the main character of Eyrbyggja, is a descendant of the first hofgoði in Thorsnes, a representative of the fourth generation, and that generation is converting to Christianity. So what is left of the authority or the social role of the goði once he has been deprived of his religious role? Since he was a pagan priest, I think one of the questions that the story is asking, Eyrbyggja as a whole, is what is a goði after the conversion?
And you have interpreted this episode of the Wonders at Froðá in the context of Icelandic society in the period when the saga is written. More precisely in connection with law, 13th century law.
Yeah.
How does law enter the Wonders at Froðá?
The practice of law in society is one of the great themes of the saga, and it's linked to the role of the chieftain. The hofgoði, the pagan priest chieftain, he was not only administered holy ritual, but he also took part in the legislation and especially leading the procedure at the assemblies. And so he was a kind of a specialist of law and an authority of the law. So he had all of these functions. What I believe is happening in the Wonders of Froðá, and that's why it was meaningful, this story was meaningful for a 13th century audience, is the way an end is put to the Wonders of Froðá. And it's I've sometimes called it an overkill, because the Wonders of Froðá, they're put down in three ways. First of all, they do what I call the fairy tale thing, which is at the beginning of the wonders is a death wish was not fulfilled. There's some dangerous stuff there, the bed clothes and so on, the decorations that Þórgunna left after her death, but she asked to be destroyed. They weren't destroyed, therefore the wonders happened. So that's the first thing: burn these things, and the wonders will recede. But then there's the second thing that is done to put down the wonders, which is bring a priest. He does administers holy ritual, uses holy water, confesses the people, says mass in at Froðá, and then the third thing, which is by far the most elaborately described part of the putting down of the wonders of Froðá, is that a door court is established. What is a door court? It's an ad hoc court that can be, instead of doing the legal proceedings at an assembly, you can do it at where somebody lives, and it's either outside or inside the door. And this is described. The author says they did it in all the same way as the procedure would have taken place at an assembly. They called witnesses. They had prosecutions. They had brought people from the surrounding farms to serve as jury members and so on. And so it is a legal procedure. And who presides this procedure? To the son and the nephew of Snorri the chieftain. So my reading of this text is that it is kind of a redefinition of the role of the chieftain after the conversion. now they're sharing what was before, what the chieftain did, which was both religious ritual, and the legal proceedings. Now it has to be shared between the clergy and the chieftain. So this conflict about what is called the privilegium fori in the terms of canon law is very much alive in Iceland at the time. How are the roles divided between the priests on the one hand and the lay chieftains on the other? And I try to relate the outcome of the Wonders of Frodo, or more precisely how they are ended, to as a parable about what should be the proper division of roles between, on the one hand, the chieftains. They should take care of the legal things, and the church, they should take care of the spiritual things.
Yeah. So the division of labor is
clear. Yeah, it's a story about the division of labor, but of course that is not what happened in reality. No. But this would be from the point of view of the lay chieftains of the time.